Hey guys, Lisa Callaghy here to share with you a video on mathgames.com, more specifically, the assessment feature in mathgames.com. All right, so let's get started. So right now I'm sitting on a teacher's homepage in mathgames.com, and in her left side menu bar, you'll see she has a choice of assessments. So, assessments are different than assignments, and I'm going to show you why. You'll see it when we create one. But before we go in, I want you to notice that there's two ways that you can assign an assessment. You can assign an assessment from the skill first, or you can jump into the assessments feature and then choose the domain upon which the skill resides for your assessment. So let me just demonstrate to you what it looks like from the skills perspective. So if I want to assign an assessment on the domain where the skill of symmetry sits, I could come up to my top menu bar and choose the second choice here, skills. I could navigate to the skill where symmetry resides, which would be in geometry. Now I'm able to choose any grade level for geometry for that skill. So if I'm looking for a, let's see, a kindergarten symmetry skill to be assessed or first grade, see, I could choose from any grade level. I'm going to look for grade 4 symmetry. Click on that. So that's going to bring up the actual symmetry activity, which if you've seen any of my other videos on mathgame.com, you'll see that this is where students actually practice this skill through these activities. But if you scroll down on any activity page, you'll see that there's more ways to use this activity. And one of them is the second row under Math Games for Teachers, the third tile called Create Assessment. So once I've chosen this skill, I could come and click on Create Assessment from here. And what that does is it opens up the window where you do create the assessment, but it automatically chooses the domain that that skill resides. So it would have geometry already selected for me, and then I would just go ahead and fill out all of this information. That's one way to assign an assessment to your students. The other way is to just come in right from your left-hand side menu bar and clicking on assessments. What that will do is bring you to an assessments page, which will also list any assessments that you have already assigned, along with any updates and results from those assessments. I will be going through all of the reports and data in a separate video because it's just a little bit too overwhelming to put in one video. So this one is just about assigning assessments to your students. So from this assessments page, when you click on the assessments menu option here in the left-hand menu bar, you come up to the top right-hand side of your page and choose create a new assessment. Okay, so at the top, it gives you mathgames.com does give you a brief explanation about what an assessment does. So that way you understand the difference between an assessment and an assignment. So they explain that it is a set of questions to quiz your students on the selected grade and domain. So it's not specific to skill, it's specific to domain. So all of the skills underneath that domain will be assessed. And then it says each student assigned will do the exact same questions. So you'll know that the question types are the same. That way you're able to compare and see the results from the assessment. That will be, you can compare your class score. You'll be able to do that. And then you'll see a breakdown of each skill and how each student did in the prerequisite skill, grade level skill, and next grade level skill. Okay, so to create your assignment, the first thing you need to do is name your assignment. So I could name it, let me just name this demo assessment. Okay, Okay. Now, below the naming, you'll see that you have a drop-down menu under the type section here, where you're able to choose either a quick 30-minute assessment or a complete 60-minute assessment. Obviously, more time means more questions, which means more data for you. So it's completely up to you which one you choose. Scope means you get to choose the grade level scope. I'm going to choose grade 4, and that has to do with the domain. So grade 4 geometry domain. Or I could choose operations and algebraic thinking, number operations, fractions, measurement and data, and number operations in base 10. And notice if I were to choose a different scope or different grade level under my scope, it's going to change my domains. Okay, so obviously the domains are different under each grade level. So you get to choose whichever domain you'd like to assess your students in your grade level or another grade level. So after you've chosen that, next underneath is student access. So what that does is it allows students to view their results. And take notice, please, of the information button here at the top right-hand side of this section of your assessment creation page, and it gives you a little information about what this piece does. It allows your students to view their skill by skill results. So as they move between skills within the assessment, they'll see the results of the skill that they just completed. So it's up to you whether you would like that to be available to your students by checking it on or unchecking for it not to be available. Okay, coming up to the right-hand side of this page, you'll see assigned students. Again, this mirrors the same way you would assign assignments to your students. You're able to assign it to all the classes or all your students that you teach. That would encompass multiple sections, or you can choose an individual section, or you can choose students within each section or students between section. So if you have your all button on and select students, these students might be in different sections that you teach, but you're able to assign one assignment to them. So it depends on, who you're completely free to choose however you want to assign or whomever you want to assign your assessment to. I'm just going to choose one student here. And then at the bottom, it'll tell you how much time it'll take for this assessment to be completed. Again, that information little button here, you're not clicking, you're hovering to get information about that particular section. So here it's telling you how they came up with this estimated time of 11 to 17 minutes. And that's because I chose a quick type of assessment. If I chose a complete one, notice how the estimated time changes. Okay. So once you're finished, then you click on the create button and your assignment will be assigned. Okay. Now you have the opportunity to copy and paste the link to this assessment. If you do use Google Classroom with your students as an LMS, you can share it right onto Google Classroom from this window. Or if you just verbally tell your students to access mathgames.com, they will see, and I'll pop over to a student's account right now. In their account on their homepage, they'll see in the top right-hand side of their homepage work that is assigned to them. It'll show the most recent assignments, and then if they need to view all, they can click on view all and see all of the assignments that they have been assigned by their teachers. So that's how students will access any assessment that you assign to them. Okay, so this has been a video on how to assign assessments to your students in mathgames.com. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Have a great